Good morning. So, I actually had to do the math this morning to remember how old Dewey is. Dewey is 17 months old. And he did something this morning that triggered a little thought for me. Um, when I went, when I was putting his, not when I went to put his halter on, he came kind of out the door, and like before I could clip the cheek piece, he was already exiting the stall in kind of a, get out of my way feel, I think even like I probably felt his body kind of give me a little physical encouragement to get out of the way. It wasn't like he ran out the stall. It wasn't like he even really pushed into me. I'd say I just kind of felt him. I felt the warmth of him. You know, I don't know that I felt him pushing me, but I'm gonna say I felt the warmth of him. I felt him touching in a I'd like out of this stall now kind of feeling, right? Now, here's my thing. Even though it's like I'm just trying to get that job done, moving the horses outside so I can come in here and do this, right? I'm just trying to get that job done. What do? Do you stop and say, hey, you know, or do you just, even as much as just acknowledge it and go, well, that was rude or whatever? I mean, and trust me, you'll hear plenty of horse people say, you'll hear them in a barn be like, well, that was rude, and they're talking to their horse. And the thing is that they're just, you know, addressing it in a acknowledgement way, but they're not addressing it in a corrective way. And when I say corrective, I mean I want to be really clear when I mention the word corrective. I never mean hitting your horse. I never mean hitting your horse. Corrective for me is, saying like addressing it, saying, hey, this is not acceptable. This is not okay. So I'm telling you what I would do and what I wouldn't do. I wouldn't just, allow him to kind of push me out of the way and then, like try to get the cheek piece snapped, as we're like walking out of the stall or as he's even say walking past me. Because I'm sure if I had allowed it, I'd be like trying to chase his cheek out the door. I think he would have just kept walking. I don't think he would have, been polite enough to wait for me to finish my job. My job was to get the halter on and then to, ask him to come out of the stall. Not to, my job was not to just get out of his way. So especially a 17-month-old baby, right? Especially a baby who's still learning his manners and is still going to see if he can put his elbows on the table. You know what I mean? He's still going to try the different things, but he's not 100% sure how negotiable that rule is. I always believe that they always want to know if they're allowed to sit at the negotiation table. Are they allowed to see? And this is, they try. It's kind of like they try with their mom. Can I do this? Can I do that? So in Dewey's case this morning, what I did was when I noticed that that's what his intention was to kind of, like, hey, let me go. It's time to go out. Let's skip that step kind of thing. I stopped trying to get the cheek piece on because that wasn't more important to me than his manners, and I told him to back into the stall, right? And then I told him to wait. And then I released him. So like when I have my horses on the mounting block, they are expected to stand until they're released. And that's usually like a stroke down their neck where their neck meets kind of their shoulder area. I kind of like do like that half moon space there. And, and then I say the word, okay. So now they know that until they hear that, they're expected to stand at the mounting block. And I've always said, like, if you happen to have a horse at home and your 80-year-old grandmother wants to try to get on your horse and you put him to the mounting block, do you want your horse? I mean, I've watched people like put their foot in the stirrup and then jump onto their horse because their horse starts trotting away from the mounting block. I've seen that. I actually saw a trainer, her own personal horse, do that. I mean, talk about a calling card, right? Or whatever. Yeah, it would be called a call. Talk about a business card. Like, well, that's definitely not a business I would patronize. But anyway, uh, so I told him to go, to back into the stall, and I said, like in a kind of, hey, back, wait, click, okay. So today he had a lesson in manners, and that's like, if you're raising a baby, man, especially babies, but all horses that are expressing some moments of rudeness, make them good citizens. Don't let them get away with stuff like that. Don't let that be like a, well, that was rude kind of thing, and just keep on going outside, because all you did by not explaining to them the right way to behave, you're telling them that that way is acceptable as well. I want all my horses to know black and white. I always say, don't make gray for your horses. Don't make your horses have to guess. Black and white rules are, like, I was thinking about the military, why some people have a hard time getting out of the military is because they go from a very structured black and white way of life to a you can do whatever you want way of life, and it's hard, especially since a lot of the people that go into the military go in as teenagers, and then they grow up, they become men. So I'm sorry that I said that, like that I that I went on to that topic, but it's kind of that way. It's like, if you don't have rules, life seems just kind of difficult for them. But when they know what is expected of them, when they know what the rules are, they're more emotionally and mentally happy. But when they get away with stuff like that, he didn't know he was trying to get away with anything. He just said, hey, let's skip the step of you putting the rest of my halter on. Let's skip the step of you finishing putting my halter on. Let's go. I want to go outside. He isn't doing it to be a jerk. He wasn't doing it because he's like, oh, I don't know what the rules are. He was doing it because I don't know what the rules are, but he wasn't doing it to be bad. He wasn't doing it to test the rules. He was just doing it because he didn't know that there was a rule not to do that. You know what I mean? So anyway, can't stand here. I have work to do. But definitely, when your horses do something, think in that moment, if you can, hey, is this something, like, especially when they're little and they're only like, 700 pounds, is this something I'm going to want a 1,000-pound horse to be doing? Is this something I'm going to want, like in Teddy's case, a 2,200-pound horse to be doing? Or do I want to fix this now? Do I want to, and you may always have to say, like, come on now. I mean, how many times do you hear a mother say, get your elbows off the table, right? Or, cover your mouth when you sneeze, kind of thing, right? Cover your mouth when you cough, that kind of thing. Sometimes they have to be told a little more often than you think. But just part of raising them, part of giving them good manners. So anyway, I don't want this to go too long.